we'll do a loose intro, a flaccid intro, if you will.
Yeah, flaccid intro. I've got a flaccid outro for P, because that's where the P comes out.
Thanks.
Jack, leave this in.
Oh God.
Fuck it, that's the intro now.
Yeah, that's the intro. All right. Yeah, this is Extreme Hardware Podcast Extras. There wasn't a whole lot we were going to be talking about this week, and we've got a lot of low energy, so we're just going to shoot the shit today and hope for the best.
Yeah, shoot the shit with bullets.
Absolutely not.
Oh,
that actually makes a mess. Speaking from experience.
Thank you for your service.
Excuse me?
I went target shooting with a couple buddies using some, I think they were like 22 rifles, and at some point we just started getting bored and we started shooting cow pies and they just started exploding.
Simmons has literally shot the shit with friends.
Neat.
I'm proud of
okay, so yeah, this is Simmons. We've got Axie. We've also got Chris and Navjack.
Yep.
Okay, so for the first thing I want to get out of the way immediately is Chris has been cyberbullying Joffins, and I want to actually just get this on record.
He's not even on Extreme Hardware. This is just Twitter drama.
It doesn't matter. Joffins is just some dude that Chris likes to get in fights with on Twitter.
It's not my fault. He starts them.
So yeah,
I'm smarter than him.
You fucking blocked me, the big baby.
Yeah, that was on his old account, and he hasn't. He's neglected to block you on his new one. Yeah, no, just like
about this time.
Just small form factor systems, because he said like micro ATX solves most of mini ITX's flaws. When no, it doesn't. Number one, ITX's flaws are like why you use it. It's small, and that size comes with like sacrificing IO. But ATX is not. Micro ATX isn't really any smaller than ATX. Like it's 80% shorter. That's it. It's not actually smaller.
It's just a square version of ATX, and that's it.
Pretty much. That was really the bulk of it. Simmons insisted on this.
I wanted to talk about it just only because it's like you made legitimate arguments. It's like, no, people get ITX if they want to fit it into a case that only supports ITX. It's like, but you should get a micro ATX anyway because it's better. I'm like, oh no, shut up.
I mean, honestly, that's not even true though, because like micro ATX is almost always an afterthought. Like,
absolutely,
that's becoming less of the case recently because nobody uses PCI Express cards for anything. Like, what PCI Express cards even used for anymore? Like maybe an M2 breakout board, a graphics card, obviously.
Card.
Like beyond that,
I mean,
capture card and 10 gig networking.
But those
don't have it yet.
Really niche, Axie, because most people just use like.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got USB capture cards for starters, which are going to be easier to plug in.
Right, but like the advantage of the PCI capture card is just the fact that you can bolt it into something, and it's going to be less likely to be destroyed if you move around your system.
But regardless, that means you're working with one GPU and maybe two other expansion cards, which means micro ATX is actually perfectly acceptable, and ATX is really the one that should be killed off.
Right.
I wouldn't really miss it. Like, just skip from micro ATX to eATX or something. I don't know.
I feel like Gamers Next to Steve would have some choice words about that statement.
Well, but I mean, the point is, micro ATX has exactly as much space for ATX as ATX for stuff like VRMs and whatnot and memory, because that's only like you're just chopping off the bottom three expansion slots with micro ATX. That's all you're doing.
Yeah, and like one of the advantages of like running like a decent quality micro ATX board, if you're like doing a high end system, is hey, I want to shove more radiators in my case. Now I actually have space to do so without covering up the front panel I/O and the audio headers on the bottom of the motherboard.
Because you can get a pretty good system these days with MITX.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure you can get like 64 gigabytes of RAM in there these days.
I was half tempted to get a 2x32 kit for my new computer.
Oh, there you go. So you can get 64. You can get a 5900X from AMD. that'll work. Well, an MITX motherboard that'll work with one of those.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
And an RTX 3090. There you go. That's pretty much
well,
top of the
so
range.
the 3090 is actually going to have some issues just because it's so damn big. Like
Mhm.
it's
Yeah, but that's case issues. That's not platform issues.
well, sure, but realistically, case issues is going to be dictated by or case issues is the case is going to dictate the form factor more than the motherboard, frankly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But well, it literally whatever. My head hurts. But yeah, no, like segueing into new stuff. So I finally bit the bullet, and Axie.
Yep.
Well, what's your opinions? Because I got Comet Lake.
What's my opinions on what?
Getting Comet Lake rather than Rocket Lake or Zen 3 or hell, even Zen 2.
Do you have any usage for the iGPU?
Potentially, yeah, because I've
Well,
used
then, yeah, Comet Lake is your best option that you could have gone with right now.
yeah. Also,
I really don't have much else to say because, yeah, Zen is a hard sell with current prices unless you get an MSRP. But if you need an iGPU, it's kind of your only choice is to go Intel, and there's no point in going Rocket because, well, I mean, from what I've seen, it's not getting any more performance at the same power.
Actually, that's pre-release microcode. It's fine wine. Actually, it's going to get better when it finally comes out. Even though you can buy it at retail now, it's going to get better. Intel's going to magically make it better.
They are, though.
They really are.
Well, I mean, they can, but it's still not going to change the fact of the power and temperature is going up to get that frequency, which, yes, you're getting faster performance out of the box from Intel over AMD for certain workloads, but is the power and temperature really worth it when you start having to put in a D15 or something?
Hey, I've got one of those.
Just to get your full performance out of a processor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Realistically,
I don't know.
I would have gotten a D15 if I had gone Ryzen. No, I'm just thinking you've also got to consider price because $320 for a 10850K is really good.
Mhm.
Nearest Micro Center is in Cincinnati, so that was like a more than 200-mile drive. But like factoring in cost of gas, that's $335, which is actually pretty good.
Wait, so did you actually go to Micro Center?
Oh yeah,
Was that your first time going to a Micro Center?
yeah.
What'd you think?
Overrated.
Well, I mean, since Fry's is dead, it's basically our only in-store option these days.
Yeah, Fry's had been like the writing on the wall for Fry's was ages ago. Anyway, so.
Not gonna lie, my favorite thing about going to the Micro Center was that was my first time actually witnessing one of those 165 hertz IPS panels in person.
Yeah, I didn't even really pay attention to that. I mean, I just looked at their stuff, but there's just something about like, yeah, okay, cool. This is like the cool stuff that I see on the internet, but in person. But also, well, I've just seen this on the internet already.
Well, I mean, so I will say my favorite thing to do at Micro Center is just have a buddy with you who you can also talk nerd shit with, and then just spend about an hour and a half.
Oh, I need friends. Okay, that's the problem.
Well, I mean, I would say like
Yeah, you should have picked up me first before going there.
yeah, just drive to New York and then back.
Or just video chat with me. Just call me on Duo.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, like I absolutely have enjoyed just going to a Micro Center with a buddy who has no idea what's going on and just like talking about everything that I'm seeing and just watching their face just go like blank because they have no idea what's going on and they're forced to be there because I drove them.
That's an abusive relationship, honestly.
Well, but then they would take me to some store that I didn't want to go to, so it canceled out.
Yeah, I'd like to have a Micro Center type store here, but there isn't one. The closest thing is just like a general electronics store.
Yeah, like a Best Buy or something.
Yeah, and you can't even go and look at monitors to see how good they are because they just set brightness, contrast, like all that stuff up all the way up to max.
Yeah,
well,
because that's what the general consumer wants.
An HDMI splitter that's running at 30 FPS only.
Yeah, like that sort of thing.
And it's one of those really old like digital splitters, so there's compression that's just baked in due to the fact that they're splitting it like 8 ways.
Yeah. Fun shit.
I know there is one store that is like a Micro Center in the UK, but it's on the other side of the country from me, so I can't exactly go to it.
Yeah,
That's not that far away.
I will
it's only
say though,
3 hours or so.
Yeah, that's a normal drive.
Yeah.
Jack, you don't
Honestly-
even have a car.
Nope.
Yeah, he doesn't. Jack doesn't even want a car. He's a bitch who wants a self-driving Tesla to kill him.
Yeah, I do.
Take matters into your own hands.
Nah.
You
No,
like me and
no,
do
because if the
questionably
accident
legal
occurs,
things
then
'cause
you
it'll
can
blaze
sue
them.
Tesla for liability.
Well, no, because Tesla have cameras in their car now that face towards the driver that you can't look at. You can't look at the camera feed, and you can't switch off.
Yeah.
The only way to switch it off is to just cover it with some tape.
Yeah, what's that kind of system called in a car? I forget. Attention.
Well, usually it would be a dash
The
cam,
driver-
but it's not a dash cam. Tesla themselves haven't said exactly what the camera's for, but I'm guessing it's in case someone crashes while autopilot is on. And they
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
Drive-
driver awareness.
Yeah,
kind
it's
of
like
thing.
for Tesla liability reasons because, of course.
but you don't have access to it. You can't view it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, they need that for the self-driving. It's a whole thing. There's a whole bunch of laws and stuff. I remember reading about this stuff a while ago.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Is it though? Self-driving is bullshit anyway. Speaking of driving, actually that was the more interesting bit of the trip to Micro Center, if I'm being perfectly honest. Probably in part because like the power supply section was really mediocre because I was desperately looking for something so I could cancel the Seasonic that I ordered and just be like, oh hell yeah, here's an old like Superflower EVGA unit that's like $80 for 800 watts and it's 80 plus gold or something, because EVGA thanks to Trump tariffs has moved away from Superflower and onto FSP. I think it's a worse brand because like I'm a Seasonic fanboy. Seasonic's great. Superflower is also perfectly acceptable to me, but since they've only just started like selling their units in North America under a brand, you had to go for like OEM rebadge stuff previously.
Oh wait, are they actually doing first party sales now?
Apparently so.
That's actually really cool because I do like Superflower stuff.
Yeah. So Superflower, Seasonic, both good choices. But anyway, I was like looking for something, and there's just nothing was there that was a good price. I was looking at RAM. The Amazon stuff that I got was cheaper. Like really disappointing. Also, no graphics cards. Well, no graphics cards faster than a 1030.
Oh.
Except for the $350 RX 570s.
Ah,
Yeah.
That's
That's over $100 more than my RX 480 cost 5 years ago.
the I can't remember who I'm following on Twitter who will just occasionally post the Micro Center sales when they come up. But it's just like, yeah, I mean, I appreciate you posting these, but this requires you to go to the store that's specifically selling these right now. You know, it's
GPU prices are just terrible now. In 2016, I think I paid £95 for my already used 7950. That same GPU now is 120 to 150 pounds.
I was gonna say, I mean, hell, when I bought my 1080, I bought it used for $200, but that was also anticipating the 2070 flopping, which it kind of did compared to expectations.
And speaking of the 2070, I paid $475 for mine, which was already over the recommended retail price.
Is that pounds?
Yeah.
Okay.
And the exact same one is selling used on eBay right now for between 600 and 650 pounds.
Yeah, I was gonna say, speaking of which, guess who just bought a 2070 Mini at 150% MSRP?
Yeah, there's a reason I got something with an IGP.
No, well, okay, so real quick before I go into that, I'm really glad that I did go Comet Lake for that system. Thank you, Jack, for that recommendation several months ago. But
Yeah.
Nice. Simmons joining the Watts gang.
well, so when I was running the 1070, the Gigabyte 1070 Mini, and then due to the nice hash mining, the GPU just finally gave up because I bought the thing used. It was like $225 when I bought it, and then it died. And what the funny thing was is because I could remote into the system, and there was just no GPU detected aside from the Intel integrated, which is always a great sign. And then I plugged in my RX 480 with a 16-inch PCI riser cable, and I got the generic display driver generic display driver in Device Manager because NVIDIA drivers don't like AMD. Go figure. And okay, yep, I actually just killed this GPU. That's fun.
Yeah.
But yeah. Oh yeah, I'm actually really mad at UPS right now because the GPU arrived at the UPS warehouse in my town this morning at like 6 a.m. and they're shipping it tomorrow.
Yeah, they just got to stick to that, delivered by date.
I've had better experience with UPS in the past where it just arrives at some point.
Yeah, I ordered my motherboard. Apparently, it came from a third-party Amazon seller, which I didn't, realize when I clicked buy. Okay, this is the new tube because the cap isn't torn off. I didn't realize.
Bless you.
Oh, excuse me. It's that time of year.
Yes, it is.
I'm getting my period.
When I ordered it, that it was coming from a third-party seller. Although, listing socket 940 on my Comet Lake motherboard should have been a tip-off. Anyway, the delivery date was March 16th to March 18th. It showed up on March 11th, I think, and then I got a text message the following day informing me that, "Hello, your motherboard arrived." Sure did, buddy.
Okay, well then that was actually a positive experience because normally
that's the opposite of how it usually happens.
Yeah,
the whole thing felt sketchy as hell. Haven't tested the motherboard yet, but it included everything and it only looked slightly opened.
Yeah. Oh, and we're kind of upset that Alex wasn't here because we're going to harass him about an index.
Yeah, I don't know if he's actually ordered one yet, but there's going to be a funny when he does say that he's ordered one.
You can look forward to that recording.
Yes.
I was going to say, Axie, is there anything that you've purchased recently, computer related?
Aside from upgrades for my server, trying to deal with and find an HBA that works with Unraid well. Not much, just hard drives, 12 terabytes. Can't buy a GPU because, they're overpriced and not available in Canada, even worse than the States. If you guys think you have it bad,
I was going to say, are you going to try to get into the LTT thing that they're doing?
Yeah, when they eventually announce it, the verified gamer program thing.
Yeah.
Hashtag not a sponsor.
They would never sponsor a competitive competing podcast. Let's be honest.
Yeah,
we don't even compete. We're not even on the radar.
Honestly, the whole thing is really cringe. Linus is getting a lot of shit because they got a video done sponsored by NiceHash about how you can just mine on your graphics card. And mining's destroying the environment. NFTs are literally destroying the rainforest, which I don't think they're literally directly setting the rainforest on fire. I've seen that quote a bunch lately from teenagers, and I'm not sure where it originated from. I'm pretty sure it's more in a metaphorical sense with the whole global warming thing. But anyway, Linus got a whole lot of shit from this, but this is also, it's just really funny to see because all of these people are invested in a YouTube channel that's telling them to buy electronics. Here's the new annual release graphics card to buy. Here's the new annual release CPU to buy. It's I would hope that these guys aren't doing annual upgrades, but I feel like that's actually more common now than in the past.
It's as common as it was between the two mining booms.
I mean, sure, but it's just, I don't know. It's trying to feel self-righteous because, look at all of these miners using electricity. That's a bad thing to oppose. And yeah, sure, but also this entire hobby isn't contributing anything positive to the world. It may be folding it home, but that's just crowdsourcing supercomputer costs.
Yeah.
What about those of us
deep fakes
who only have electric heat?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, in that case, if you're getting used graphics cards and your heat comes off electricity, there is literally no reason to not mine instead during the winter.
My 5700 at night in the wintertime makes me more money than my electric heating costs the rig running. And I still make a profit.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now,
so it's
There's
mining is kind of useless in itself because it doesn't really get you anything tangible if market crashes. Like folding at home and like distributed computing, SETI, all that stuff. At least that's a somewhat good byproduct of making electric heat.
Yeah, I literally just call it charity for nerds at that point because you're just donating resources to a greater supercomputer at that point.
Yeah. Actually, God, yeah, and also crypto nerds don't understand how electricity works because, like, it's not like the electricity isn't going to be made if we're not mining. It's like, no, actually, that's literally how electricity works. Like, there's
and they
more.
shut down the instant plants that aren't needed if the load is low.
Well, to be honest, smart grid stuff is kind of new here, and people are dumb. So
fuel consumption increases generally because, like, a generator needs to make more torque because there's more of a load. Like,
that's it.
What are you? What? Like, and even if we're not talking about the energy that's already been stored in like hydrocarbons or coal, or the energy that's being stored in heavy atomic nuclei, or the energy that's being stored because, evaporation from the sun took water and moved it uphill.
Mm-hmm. And that's the other thing is like most of the major mining operations in North America are in areas where like hydroelectric or solar is actually prevalent because
it's cheap electricity. I wouldn't want to set up like a mining plant in a heavily regulated fracking country.
No, it's
heavily regulated. That's the wrong word.
Well,
whatever.
It's more restricted in terms of your power options.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah. It's just stupid. It's like I feel like somebody said something, it got popular on Twitter, and now just everybody is just regurgitating information.
Yeah, I mean, look at it this way. Old people watch Fox News, so like the TV man can tell them what to get angry about. Meanwhile, teenagers are watching TikTok. TikTok is much worse than Vine because Vine's only lasted 6 seconds, so you couldn't soapbox. But TikTok lasts up to a minute, so that's plenty of time to soapbox and get lots of things wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why TikTok is bad.
That's the only reason why?
Man, I'm glad I came to this TED Talk today.
Yeah, I have solar panels, so when I mine, I'm actually helping global warming because it's sucking up the sun.
Good. Thank you for doing your part.
Yeah,
I know what you were going to say.
Thank you for doing your part.
Yeah, I know what you were going to say there, Jack, and I'm really upset. No, shut up.
Yeah, I only mine at night though, so it's it keeps me warm at night.
Yeah, it's romantic under the moonlight.
No, because I've talked about it before. It's like when I finally get my own like permanent residence, like a house or whatever, I'm literally just going to set up a server closet with the exhaust from my my systems. That in the winter it'll just go into the HVAC to supplement the heat.
Yeah.
Yep, that's my plan. Put a nice double smart vent that either exhausts out to outside or to inside, and intake that takes from inside or outside based on the temperatures.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I assume that wherever I eventually settle down is like at my parents' place, our primary heat source is like a wood stove, so that's fine. It's already established, but knowing the fact that we're probably not going to own a house until we're in our 40s or probably later.
Actually, hang on. That's another good point they like several minutes ago about how like if you have electric heat, what if you don't have electric heat? Because like somebody was I would need to like look in the numbers to this more, but if you have, let's say, 50% efficiency, and I'm being really generous here, from like a fossil fuel power plant, going like you've got 50% efficiency there, that goes down whatever lines, substations, etc., ends up in your house.
3% from transmission.
How much?
Another 3% loss from transmission, let's say rough.
So we can probably expect like between 40 and 50% like efficiency of coal that gets burned way over there to heat that comes out of your space heater, because the rest of the heat is getting released somewhere else. So I'm trying to think. Where was I going with this? No, it was cooking specifically where this was like mentioned, where like gas stoves Yes, they put out like a lot more heat than electric stoves because you're burning gas. But actually, if you also have a natural gas power plant, it's about a wash just because of like the heat generation inefficiencies. That doesn't really apply with like graphics cards, but it's something to keep in mind. It's kind of like the same reason in certain areas, e.g., ones with coal power plants, it's cleaner if you have a plug-in hybrid vehicle rather than a pure EV. Just because coal is that filthy, so you can offset it with, gasoline and a nice catalytic converter and the Atkinson cycle. But you're also still supplementing it with the grid.
I've also got heat pumps too, right? When you start looking at heat pump systems for heating instead,
yeah,
that and arguably have double efficiency compared to straight electric heat. But then when you couple that with a coal plant, you basically have the same energy consumption as someone who's on pure solar and wind.
Yeah. Oh, explain like briefly how heat pumps work. As I understand it, they're like refrigerators, except you want the hot side of the fridge.
Yeah, it's basically take a regular air conditioner system. So you got your outside condenser, your inside evaporator. You basically add a reversing valve on it, and you basically just reverse the operation. So you got your hot one on the inside instead, and your cold one on the outside, collecting heat from the air.
Oh, so this could actually work for like some unit where like you just flip a switch in the winter and it automatically reverses.
Yeah, that's all mini splits do. Mini split units, you can have up to like 4 zones off them, and most of them will work down to like, let's say, minus 20 Celsius. I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit off the top of my head. Before they kind of start to lose efficiency, or you can get some more exotic ones that have like defrost lines built into the outside coil so it can get rid of the frost.
Yeah, it just reverses the
Technology Connections did a pretty good video recently on them.
Yep. Actually, I was recommended that video, I think about a week and a half ago.
Yeah, I haven't watched that video yet. I should get around to it.
Yeah, I found a fun picture of a Tesla that is towing a portable generator and is using it for power.
That's going to be me someday. I want to get a Tesla. I want to get a Cybertruck, fill it with diesel generators, and never plug it into a wall.
I mean, I don't see why not, honestly.
Also, we're going to get rid of the regenerative braking. I'm not really sure how, but I guess I'm not actually sure how you would do that.
You can switch it off. Not officially, but I'm sure someone will make a third-party firmware that'll let you switch it off.
All you need to do is have like a switch that just reroutes the motors from like the battery. I'm assuming the motor is acting as a generator when you're coasting. So no, shut up. You disconnect that and then you just slap them in some resistors so it turns into heat and just like burns it off.
Well,
that'd be fun.
No, because officially there's different levels of regenerative braking you can have on the Teslas. All it will take is just a bit of firmware to switch it off.
Yeah. But, Tesla's not a good company.
Well, yes. We all know that. Oh, that reminds me. I was speaking of recommended videos. It's just like in regards to Tesla and SpaceX. I remember YouTube was just like, "Hey, watch the new Tesla rocket launch," and the moment I turned it on, the rocket crashed.
Yeah, they do that a lot.
It was actually really funny because it's like, you got here just in time. It's like NASCAR.
I thought it didn't crash. I thought it landed successfully and then it just exploded because of fuel lines or something.
No. Because that was the one where it went up successfully, it landed, and then they relaunched it again, and then it crashed on the second landing.
Oh, okay.
Oh, shoot. All right, so Axie, you were going to say something.
Yeah, I'll say I forget which channel just did it recently on YouTube, but they did a video on passive houses as well.
Oh, is this like off the grid type stuff?
Not necessarily off the grid, but houses that are built in a way that, let's say they have 2 sets of windows. Let's say your upper windows for your upper floor and your lower floor for your summer versus winter. So the ones on the lower floor that get heat in the wintertime are set with a coating that lets the heat in. but then the windows upstairs are set to keep the heat out with like some coating on them. Now you use the natural sun in the wintertime to heat your house, and it's like basically like a kind of built on a concrete slab, and then using like an underground geothermal loop underneath the house directly. So you have minimal footprint. Yeah, and then so solar also helps if you can build it in a way, but you could build them with the extra insulation, everything. You have like 20% the typical heat load required of a regular house.
Yeah, interesting.
But you need to do it from building, so it's hard to retrofit most houses.
Yeah. Which means it's neat technology, but it's never actually going to get adopted because there's just no way.
I feel like it will just get adopted as people start building like smaller footprint houses.
What motivation do they have to do that?
Grants.
We're just
costs.
We got to start tearing down all the old houses anyway. So
honestly.
Yeah, the thing is, like, with regard to climate change, like, being a climate doomer is the new climate denial, but, like, the way I see it is, I don't believe that we've actually run out the clock on it just yet. I just believe that we're going to continue to run out the clock until we reach a point of no return, and then we'll say, oh my god, how do we let this happen? Like, well, we've had
that happens all the time with everything.
Yes.
Yeah. Except this time, like, over 1 billion people are probably going to die. So that's cool.
I mean, we had a good run.
Yeah.
I've got some breaking news.
Twitch
the Twitch moderator team are a bunch of simps because someone sent me this. They've been live for nearly 2 hours and it's still there.
What about it?
Moderator team?
That's very inappropriate clothing according to their terms of service.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, so that's an actual Twitch like official moderator?
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay, is this a commercial?
Probably.
Oh, no, it's not.
No, this is 2 girls in a hot tub.
This is 2 girls in 1 hot tub.
What are they doing with that cup?
Oh, no, stop it.
Wait, is that an inflatable hot tub?
Yeah.
God, that thing's probably just leaching estrogen into their skin.
Yeah, they don't need any more of that, do they? You see how much estrogens that they are holding on their bodies right now?
Yeah.
Those are the estrogen containers I'm pointing with my mouse. No one else could see this.
I mean, yeah, you've also got, the one on the right is smart. She has a glass, so she's not going to get any endocrine disruptors out of that. But the one on the left is drinking from a plastic water bottle.
But I mean, they're both in each other's soup. This is gross.
Yeah, it really is.
I wonder if they're going to sell that water afterwards. I'm sure many people would buy it.
Oh, there's a lot of people getting banned from chat now. Yeah, like, what's the...
Yeah, I'm not watching that anymore. That is gross.
No, I'm just unsure what exactly is going on, and I can't be bothered to unmute it.
Yeah.
Oh, you can do ban requests for some reason.
Hey, Simmons has that feature.
Hey.
Yeah, but theirs is overpriced. 5,000 points to ban someone for 10 minutes.
Oh,
that's actually better points per minute than like Simmons has. So,
yeah.
I don't know.
So Simmons, you should increase the minutes specifically for Chris because he was complaining.
So that's the thing is like
Simmons, I'll kill you in the kneecaps if you do that.
So I actually don't know how to, as far as I can tell, the amount of points that you're awarded per minute or minutes is kind of dynamic based on your reward structure that you have set up. So if you make all of your rewards a lot more expensive, you earn more points per minute.
Oh, I thought it was a fixed points thing.
No, it's not, because I was on my buddy Curb's stream the other day, and I think in my chat you earn like 40 points a minute, and then on theirs you were earning like 22.
On yours, you only get 10, at least last you were streaming.
Okay, so I don't know. I don't know what the deal is with that. It does. I do appreciate that it does take a while to earn points because I don't want people timing out Chris every opportunity they can.
Oh, that's nice.
I want them to save up and then feel like they earned that timeout.
Well, that's what I do. I've run out of points now because I've timed out Chris so much.
Yeah.
I don't even need to use the points. I could just do it when I want.
See, and that's why I feel like Axie is playing it smart. He every time I'm streaming, he's just saving points so he can just demod somebody.
Or I just forget that I have them, or I'm just there to give bits and piss Chris off.
Yeah, so I think for 5,000 points, it's timeout anybody, and then for 25,000 points, you can timeout a moderator, or you can demod a moderator for the remainder of the stream.
I'm just looking at Kerb's channel now. Number one, Twitch is nice and auto completes Kerbins when you type in Kerbin.
Yeah,
they add the S at the end there. We just got like normal stuff: 100 channel points, highlight my message; 320, unlock a random sub emote; 900, modify a single emote; 2,000, I'll wear a funny hat; 190,000, I'll drink a tablespoon of hot sauce.
It would be neat if you could transfer points over to different channels, because I have 69,000 points on Niana's channel.
Of course you do.
You're only 120,000 away from making Kerb suffer. Also, 169,000, Andrew. How did you get that many?
What? No, just 69,000.
Yeah, I stuttered, but in a way that made it sound like I was saying a different number. I apologize.
Oh, okay.
How'd you get that many tens of thousands of points?
Because we're dating now.
Okay.
Yeah, I said something in her chat and she replied to it, so that means we're dating.
Andrew, I really liked your joke the other day. Oh no, Neanners died. Now instead of having £6 a month and spending cash, I'll have 5,006 pounds a month.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
Oh, I got nothing. Do we have any other computery stuff?
I mean, the only other thing I think really worth mentioning right now is, Milan announcement's gonna be happening tomorrow.
Yeah,
that's it.
Like, I bought AMD stonks because it will probably go up because Milan is looking pretty good.
I'm waiting until the market opens up tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, I just got in before it closed on Friday.
Yeah.
So like, long story short, based on what I've seen, going from a 4-core CCX to an 8-core CCX is going to be good because there have been 40 and 56 core SKUs spotted, which is something I kind of predicted they'd do. Being able to do 7-core CCXs so they can do like 56 core chips now. Like, as far as power goes, if you've got a 3.2 gigahertz 56 core chip, that should be using approximately the same amount of power as a 2.8 gigahertz 64 core chip with like about the same performance, because these are very parallel workloads. Like, it's going to scale really well or not at all at that point. So that's probably going to be good for yields, actually. Although, that said, TSMC being in the condition that it is, I'm skeptical. We'll see how it goes. But I don't know. Milan looks good.
Yeah.
Hopefully they talk Threadripper stuff as well, because the new Threadripper stuff looks really good.
Yeah.
Also curious how the current lack of chips already for consumers is going to be affected once they start rolling out all these new chips as well.
I don't think it will be. I don't think so. Because like, server vendor, like, they're going to have big contracts. Like Dell or HPE are going to ask for like, we need X million CPUs, please.
But once that starts happening, right, and we start getting these big orders for the new Milan and Threadripper parts, is that going to affect the Ryzen parts and their yields?
So. I don't think so, because I don't think that's happened yet. I don't know. Keep in mind, though, Axie 5800X is finally available at MSRP, so that's cool. Probably because it's the worst value out of all of them, so few people are buying them. Well, worst value at MSRP.
That's my baby, and it's a special one. I've got a number 2 CCX one.
Wait, 2 CCX?
Number 2. So instead of having the first CCX being the active one, on my 1500X, it's the second one that's active. The first one is disabled.
On your 5800X.
Yeah.
They're not using 2 dies, are they? They're not doing dummy dies.
I'm not sure exactly what they're doing, if they're doing 2 dies or 1 die, but I know that in CTR, after a recent update, it now properly identifies which of the CCXs you're using. And mine's one of the rare second one.
I wonder if we're just saying the second one because that's where it gets installed in the chip. Like,
But I'm curious, like, why would they install it in 2 different spots if they don't need to?
I mean, is everybody else getting like CCX number 1?
Yeah. Yeah, the number 2 is a much rarer thing.
Mm.
And they typically are slightly lower quality too.
Oh, I wonder if it's like, I don't know, something in the package got damaged, so they could only mount it in that spot. I really don't know what to tell you. That's weird.
I mean that is probably a good assumption.
I mean, it still runs the same. It still hits 5 gigahertz for me at under 1.5, so I can't complain.
It
lets me host Minecraft, fold, mine, and play Final Fantasy and podcast all at the same time.
Yay.
Let's see. We got something about the chickens, but we'll save that for next time.
How's your PC, Chris? Did everything fit?
Oh, I haven't gotten it assembled yet. I am still in disbelief that the D15 fits with this motherboard. The center fan in the D15 blocks one of the SATA ports if I have it in like the correct location. But if I move it a little bit further up the fin stack, then it's fine.
Yeah.
Like 3 or 4 fins, and I can fit the SATA port under it. But like, no, I do not believe that it actually all fits together.
So does the heatsink fit just not the fan?
Yeah. Oh yeah, there's like no interference. Well, okay, so the motherboard I got, the ASRock Z490 Phantom Gaming ITX Thunderbolt 3 or something. Yeah, like there's a little like I/O board. It's based on like a DDR4 SODIMM because that's like an existing thing that's supposed to handle high-speed signals, and it's cheap and whatever, so they can stick it on a motherboard. So there's a little card that has like, you know, half the SATA ports, one of the M2 slots, a USB header, that kind of stuff, and that plugs in. So when you go to plug it in, if you have the D15 installed, you kind of have to plug it in at an angle as it slides into the SODIMM slot, which is kind of a problem. And then you have to screw it down. There's 2 screws. One of them is actually like accessible. The other one is kind of under the fin stack, but if you maneuver the screwdriver around at an angle, you can get it back in. So I'm scared to take it out at this point because the heatsink's going to need to come off, I think. But yeah, I got that in somehow.
So would it fit with putting a 120 mil fan on instead of the 150 mil in the middle fit? Whatever the bigger fan
for sure.
in the middle
although I don't think Noctua makes clips for 120 mil fans.
I mean, you'd probably have to modify the clips, but whatever.
Press fit. Put an extra set of rubber pads.
No, you'd probably have to shorten the wires a little bit.
Yeah. I'd have to do like something. Or like rubber bands or something. I mean, there's no point because it's only blocking off 1 SATA port, and I've still got 3 available in the computer, which, that's not a whole lot, but that's optical drive, big boy SSD, additional SSD, hot swap bay. I don't know what the third one will get used for anyway.
So are you still going to do the Noctua 200 mil fan for the intake?
Oh, absolutely. I just need to buy one.
Yeah.
I need to buy one of those, and I need to get a couple of 40 by 20 millimeter fans so I can eventually swap out the VRM heatsinks for something better. Oh yeah, actually, there's 2 40 millimeter fans on the VRM heatsinks, and I can swap them both for thicker fans, although one of them will void the warranty.
Yeah, I got to do that for my Unify switch. I'm looking at the Noctua 5-volt flex fans. I guess that's the other thing for your VRM fans is make sure that they're either 5-volt or 12-volt fans. Don't make that mistake. Put the wrong ones in.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. They use little like JST headers on the motherboard, but frankly, I would just get some fan headers or something myself and deal with them.
I'll just put them to your own fan. Well, unless it's going to throw an error if there's not detecting current through the
header with like,
JST header.
I mean, what kind of current goes through a fan? Because I've got a bunch of spare resistors. I could like short something out if I need to.
Yeah, exactly. If you need to, just put a resistor across, you'd be good to go.
Yeah. It's a huge pain in the ass to get to the CMOS battery as well because it's just buried under the rear I/O. Because they have like this grill for the fan, they've got like a built-in I/O shield, they've got like a shroud on the back or something, and the CMOS battery is on a cable. To save board space is like, well, you don't know how to get to this.
Just extend the cable for the CMOS and mount it to the side of the case with Velcro.
Yeah, that could work.
Honestly, I'm tempted to do that once I get in and like do surgery to the system. Although
at that point, you may as well just on the extension wire just put a push button on it so you can quickly reset the CMOS.
Oh, there's one of those on the back, thankfully. But no, like honestly, JST extension cable so I could just like get the battery someplace else is a brilliant idea. So what do we got here? We've got the A4x20 PWM, A4x20 FLX. What's the difference between these?
Probably just that, or
just not PWM, right?
Yeah, I think the Flex is just it works with just 2-wire control a lot better.
I think yeah.
I think the Flex one, it supports not only linear voltage regulation, so like let's say from 12 volts down to 7 down to 5, but it also supports PWM on that input power wire. So you can do it off of just straight 2-wire control from like some servers and other chassis and stuff.
You don't need like the PWM fan header type PWM.
Exactly.
Cool. But yeah, okay. We'll probably get one of those. And then actually I'm gonna add a pair of these to my cart right now while I'm thinking about it. So that's $30 on Noctuas, and now 200 millimeter Noctua. We got the Chromax Black. Now we're not getting a black fan. We're getting Noctuas and cart.
Wait, they actually make a Chromax version of the 200 now?
Apparently so.
Huh. I mean, I don't see why they wouldn't. But
they've got a gray version as well.
If I remember correctly, those gray versions are essentially just the same motor but a cheaper housing.
Yeah, it's like a last gen version of it or something.
Well, no, it's like because rather than doing their fancy housing, they have all the like injection molded bits for the rubber dampers and better transitions in the molding or something like that. I can't remember what the actual difference between the FLX fans and the standard fans are.
Well, it's not Noctua Brown, so honestly, I don't want it.
It can't be good if it's not brown.
At this point, I'm willing to spend like a $15 premium on this entire damn computer for Noctua Brown just because it will amuse me.
Hell yeah. Also, you're shoving everything into a BitPhoenix Prodigy, which is even that much more better.
Mm-hmm. Dude, speaking of the BitPhoenix Prodigy, I really wish I had gotten the lime green Prodigy back in the day. I just really like
green
it.
Prodigy. I did not see that one.
So they actually had a blue, which like a cobalt blue. They had a lime green. They had a neon pink, and I believe they also had a yellow.
No pink. They had like radioactive orange, and they had red. I'll post a picture in general. Hang on. It's okay. This is actually a really bad picture, but it gets the point across. We all know what the Prodigy looks like. It was these colors. Also, as a bonus, you can mix and match the colors because like all of the individual bits come off. The optical drive blank gets removed, obviously. The feet handle thingies can be removed. The side panels can be removed, and the front panel can be removed. So like all of the color bits are separate pieces. And I think the chassis on all of them is just black. I would assume so.
At least on the inside, yeah.
At least on the colored ones. I'm not sure about the white ones. But yeah, like you could do some fun stuff with it if you got to.
Yeah, like here was here's one example of what was pretty common that people would do.
Oh, actually, I'm sorry. The metal, it looks like, is the color of the case.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure the entire thing is powder coated to match the side panels.
Oh, that's really cool. Okay, so that gives you a lot of room to like play around and mix and match.
Yeah, because I know what a lot of people would do.
Absolutely love to have one.
They would like get either the white chassis or the black chassis, and then just get the various accent pieces from the other case.
Oh, I'm so disappointed I missed my opportunity to get this. I've got a white one. If I could find like
actually here was
a green one or something.
Here was an official NVIDIA mod where it was just the black seat, the black side panels, and then the green chassis.
All right, let's see. eBay.com.
Now, it also looks like depending on which chassis you got, it looks like the orange wasn't completely powder coated, but the blue was and the green was. So that's interesting.
All right, so what do we got? White, black, assorted, black colors, but these are non-standard. Screws, badge, filter, non-standard stuff, third party, whatever. I'm glad that I got them when I did, but damn, I wish I could have gotten one of the colored ones.
So actually, speaking of the Prodigy, so when I was building my very first computer back in 2012, I was looking at doing a Prodigy, and my dad convinced me to go full tower.
Mm-hmm.
And he legitimately had a point. It was just like, if you need, because back in that era, small form factor parts weren't necessarily as consistent in quality. So.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
Yeah, early SFX power supplies.
Well, no.
bronze.
So basically, it was down to the motherboard at that point, because there were significant trade-offs between the various Z77 SKU.
Yeah, because remember, M2 didn't exist yet. If you were lucky, you would get mSATA and Mini PCI Express.
Yep. So instead of the Bit Phoenix Prodigy, my very first case was now a Corsair 400R, which the case was fine. I should have got the 500R. Yeah, actually, that case is still living on because my dad's using it as for his current desktop now. Like, it took me building him a computer in that chassis, finally get him off of his Windows Vista machine.
Yeah, good old Vista. It took Windows Vista to get my dad off his Windows Vista machine.
Well, no, my dad's Windows Vista computer ran for 12 years.
I mean, Dad's probably could have run for 12 years too, but he didn't want it to because he hated Vista.
Yeah. My dad went straight from XP to 10.
That sounds like a much better transition, actually.
So only because this just came up while we were chatting, we're within the last hour, Noctua just put out a new page.
Oh, they did?
Yes.
Give us a link, my
Here
dude.
it is in Voice Lobby. It's Noctua's new standardized performance rating for CPU coolers. They're basically giving a straight up flat number comparison of all their coolers and their cooling potential, so you can easily compare from one to the next.
So wait, what does that number actually represent? Do they have a breakdown of that? Oh wait, no, it's actually they have a formula: heat load over case temperature minus ambient temperature times 10 plus heat load 2 over 10. That's a really strange formula, but hey, if it works.
Okay, hang on. Think about it. So what do they mean by heat and load? Oh, heat load is one thing. Okay.
So they got two different heat loads. Heat load 1 is 120 watts, and heat load 2 is 250 watts.
Okay.
Sorry, that's for passive versus high-end coolers. Yeah, I just popped up on my Google Now feed while I was checking shit out. But I mean, it's if it's consistent, the same formula used for all of them, it's a pretty good way to compare the cooling between one cooler to the next to see if it actually makes a difference if you need that extra 1%.
Yeah.
By the way, of a U14S versus a D14 modded for Threadripper.
By the way, speaking of Noctua stuff, so what's the deal with the special like Threadripper and AM4 D15s? Are these actually different coolers?
Okay, so AM4 is basically the same thing as the Intel. As far as I can tell,
not just Intel, also stuff like AM3 Plus. It does include a bracket for that. It's sitting on my desk.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, so
the Threadripper is just it's got a much bigger spread on the base.
Yeah, he's better.
Right.
The larger Threadripper chips because no one's really using Noctuas on big Intel server parts, but if they are, most of those are very centered for their heat load, unlike Threadripper.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just okay, that would make sense. But like, why AM4 exactly? Why not just throw in the bracket with the existing thing? Like, they're making a new SKU for this. That's what confuses me.
I would say cost savings, but then you have to pay to market and sell.
Yeah, it's like, I would say, cost savings would make sense. But again, I'm looking at like brackets for AM3 Plus sitting on my desk. This thing hasn't been used since 2017.
Right.
Like, Ryzen came out, everything AM4 was deprecated overnight.
Yeah, and that's what I really hated, that they did the whole AM3 to AM4 bracket where the clip part stayed the same, but they changed the hole spacing, which a lot of the higher end coolers used.
Yeah.
Which kind of sucked. I don't know why they did that. Like, I can't see a reason why they would have done that. You know, how big the rectangle was sitting over the chip that basically stayed the same size. But
I'm looking up one of these very specific coolers. Give me a second. U12. All right, what is this NH-U12A? Oh, that's the dual tower. Wait, is it dual tower?
Which one?
The U12A.
No, U12A should just be like a.
Oh, it's the dual fan variant. Yeah, no, I find it really interesting that based on this rating system, that the U12A is only a few points, or is actually a few points ahead of the D14.
I mean, I do appreciate having like a standard number, but also they're kind of pulling numbers out of their butt, aren't they?
Well, I mean, and I look forward to seeing like third-party parties just doing their own testing based on this number and see if it actually can be used as a industry standard.
Yeah, I mean, like if Noctua is letting other people do it, then sure, great. Like make this an industry standard, and then just say like, I mean, I guess at that point compare that to third-party independent tests, because like if like one company says, oh, we've got an NSPR 150 on this cooler, and a different company says, well, we have an NSPR 150 on this cooler, and then it turns out that like a 9900K is like 20 degrees hotter on the other cooler, like, well, maybe this isn't that good after all.
Oh, sure. I mean, but that's why I really appreciate what Gamers Nexus does when they're doing their cooler testing. Was like, okay, so these are the results that we got. This is how we're doing our testing, and then just for shits and giggles, we also did the contact paper test just to see how much coverage you're actually getting.
Yeah. Hot take. AnandTech does like the best cooler testing because rather than testing things on CPUs, they like bolt it down to a heat generator. It's just a very precisely tuned like resistor. It's like, well, it's a precise resistor, but it's also a precise, like, I assume, constant current source.
They're basically doing the same thing that Intel does.
It's like they're cheating in the sense that this is absolutely not reflective of real world workloads. However, when you have to consider that stuff like Ryzen or now Intel with thermal velocity boost will just be like, ooh, we got a little bit of thermal headroom, time to run a bit hotter.
Yep.
It doesn't really help all that much. And like, if, it's trying to get to, let's say it's boosting until it gets to like 70 degrees and then it'll dial it back, then at that point, you shouldn't actually be looking at temperatures. If you're testing with like an in vivo CPU or something, you should actually just be looking at performance. But like AnandTech actually tests, cooling. Alternatively, you could take something like a 9590 and lock it at 5 gigahertz and use that as your heat source. But, the point is the clock speed is fixed.
I would actually be curious to see AnandTech's results compared to like GN's results, just because GN actually, I think like early last year, or maybe it was 2019, where they built their cooler testing setup, where it's literally just a regulated thermistor with constant voltage, like you were describing.
Yeah, I bet it would be fairly similar, just because they're using the same tactic. I didn't realize GN had switched over to that.
Yep.
Did they cite like the same issues that I just said?
Yeah,
Okay,
more or
cool.
less. I mean, they obviously go into a lot more detail because that's how GN does. But
Yeah.
like they go into a lot more detail and information that's not necessarily relevant, but it's still interesting to listen to somebody talk about it for a half an hour.
Yeah, Steve is autistic representation.
That is indeed a statement that you just said.
It's okay. I'm allowed to say that.
You are allowed to say that.
I'm autistic.
It was also funny, like you mentioned about the whole thermal velocity boost. I've noticed even like with my 1500X, is that when it decides it wants to boost, it jumps from 40 degrees to like 75, 80 degrees in like 2 seconds.
Yeah.
So we're at the point now where it's not just straight sustained cooling potential that we need. It's you need that either that heat mass of a massive knock to a cooler to be able to soak that huge change in output,
Mhm.
or a water cooling or some sort of like super big vapor chamber.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was going to say.
I want to say mine first. I'm going to interrupt you because I'm more important.
Agreed. A
while ago, I was messing around with the 10900 with velocity boost. I was messing around with the base clock. I had it like on 101, but I noticed when you enable thermal velocity boost and you have the base clock overclocked, and I'm cool with my processor sitting at 70 or something. You know how I have my computer with no fans on it and all that crap. So that's fine with me. But with the base clock higher, the velocity boost is like, oh, we're too fast. We need to slow down to make it cooler. And it confuses the velocity boost. Yeah, so I have to turn it off if I have the base clock higher, or else it'll go slower than if I didn't have it on.
I wonder if it's just like a dumb threshold or something like, we can't go over this amount.
It basically is, yeah.
No, because I'm pretty sure how Intel handles the thermal velocity boosting or whatever it's called. I think it's a little bit dumb, or it's a lot dumber than the algorithm that AMD's using.
Yeah. There's no like moving averages or anything. I mean, there's like time slices that it'll use, but the temperatures are pretty much set values for where it'll throttle down.
Yeah, and it's basically it's a binary thing. It's like if it's below this threshold, it's going to be this. If it's above this threshold, it's going to be this. Yeah, I honestly hope that Intel does something about thermal velocity boosting in the future, because
I want all boost to be gone. Everything should just be base clock. I'm sick of this game.
I mean, honestly, like when I think of my server gear, I agree with those sentiments entirely, because I have to buy a CPU based on base clock and just force it to stay at base clock.
Yeah, that's the guaranteed thing.
3 settings, just your idle clock for like your very low loads, your kind of medium loads, and just have that one high clock just for if you're only using a few threads.
Well, I mean,
just simple, not all this complicated. Honestly, trying to adjust based on temperature and how much power is in and out over the last how many milliseconds.
I mean, I do find per core boosting to be very fascinating, especially for just a general user. Like your traditional gamer, they're running Minecraft, it's single threaded, so then you just get the maximum performance out of that single thread, and I think that's really good for like the general user. But once you start doing more than like 3 things at once, it just starts falling apart.
Yeah.
So counterpoint, on a brand new Windows install, yes, people that are running Minecraft and just a single Discord instance will be able to see those boosts. But as soon as your Windows install is 6 months old, and you have installed 8 programs that are in the background, like Chrome and Edge and Discord and Razer Synapse and Logitech G Hub, and whatever else, you're never going to hit those single core boosts because you're always hitting so many cores at a time that you almost never see it. So that point becomes immediately moot 6 months down the road for the average consumer.
And you're absolutely correct, because like when I purchased my 1900X, shut up, Chris.
The preemptive shut up.
I didn't say anything.
I knew it was coming, so I had to get it out of the way. No, when I got my 1900X, the first thing I did with it was I immediately started just doing some overclocking or just overclock all core testing. I found that it was stable at 4 gigahertz, so I just left it there, and it's been that ever since.
I'm proud of you.
Also,
Are you,
before I
though?
forget, because I just remembered now, Happy Pie Day, motherfuckers.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Pi Day.
Oh, I was supposed to go to McDonald's and be really fat.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're in lockdown right now, so
In
we
my
can't.
culture, we celebrate Pi Day on July 22nd.
Rounding errors. Gotcha.
Actually, it's it's good enough, and
I don't get it.
No, that was a good joke because pi is usually round.
Oh,
Thank you, Andrews.
Okay, no, I am curious about Chris's joke, though.
it 22 over 7 is an
Right.
approximation of pi, and it's good to I don't know, what is it? Hang on.
Yeah, no, because if you're using like every other date standard from the rest of the world that's not the U.S., then it would be 22/7.
listen, you have to explain these things. I have an IQ of 68.
Times 7 divided by 22 times 1.
Oh yeah, that reminds me. Yeah, before we started recording, Jack was telling about his biography.
Yeah, the error is like 400 parts per million if you use
I wanted to say autobiography, but that would have been a fraudulent claim.
Yes.
Is it still an autobiography if you write something about yourself from your other personality?
Oh, good question.
Now, I have another question, real quick before we wrap up, because I feel like we need to probably do that soon. I kind of like this format better, just for coming up with random topics and just tangenting the entire time.
Yeah.
Do we want to just stick with this format moving forward and just make this the real episodes?
Yeah, this is
we
it.
talk about news.
Well, no, it's just like because I've been listening to a bunch of other just non-tech related podcasts lately, and they're 95% tangents.
Look, there's nothing interesting to talk about news-wise anyway. That's the thing. There's nothing going on.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm happy if someone listens to this on a commute and they feel like they have friends with them.
Hell
Yeah.
yeah. Form a parasocial relationship with me. Meet me at VidCon and then hug me. And then I'll make
Send us
eye
bits.
contact with you as the hamster wheel in your brain
Chris.
turns. And it takes you 5 seconds to realize what you did.
Chris, I want to go to VidCon with you because I know you're just going to be wearing the unicorn mask the entire time.
Dude, I would punch YouTubers so much.
Just be going on a rampage. People would think you're on PCP.
See, I feel like you would do that, and then the moment that you would meet Wendell in person, you just be like, "Hey, I nearly drove to your workplace once."
I have never nearly driven to Wendell's workplace.
Well, you
I can do
contemplated
that
it.
relatively easily. In fact, I can do that relatively easily tomorrow because I have business in that neck of the state.
My point.
But I'm too respectful to do that, so I will simply not.
I have nothing to do with this. I don't know his address. He has autism. That's how he knows.
Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah. So I guess moving forward, this is probably just gonna be a format because it's a lot more entertaining.
Yeah.
Thanks everybody for listening. And wait,
You know what, Simmons, you know what makes this format really good?
what's that?
Alex isn't here.
Hold on. But I think before we wrap up, we should figure out what episode we're on.
Wrong
Welcome to
episode.
55.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, thanks for everybody for listening to episode 55. We changed our minds at the last minute that no, this is no longer extras.
It's just the episode, so I guess we have to move the thing about my flaccid outro to the end.
Yeah, flaccid.
This show is brought to you by listeners like you.
Thank you, PBS.
Yeah, give me your money.
All right.
Like, subscribe. Only 10% of you subscribed.
Click the bell. I know how many of you have clicked the bell. It's
95% of viewers finds my boys annoying.
Au revoir.
Okay, no, hang on.
Yeah,
Before we go, though.
Yeah.
What exactly happened? Because I swear it was like a 2-month period between nobody knowing what the little bell did and everybody saying click the bell in their video.
No, it was just YouTubers that pay attention to the algorithm realized that if they promoted people clicking the bell, that their videos would be promoted more by the algorithm.
Oh my god, this is the worst goddamn website. No, like there have been videos where I've just like clicked out of it because they've shown like a big pop up at the bottom of the screen of somebody like clicking the subscribe button and the bell
with the extra bell,
on the
like a
like
bell
button.
sound as well.
And they have the sound effects. Yeah, it's like, no, go.
That's
I'm
like
not.
every dash cam channel.
Okay,
right
so
now.
You know what? I will say that there's one YouTube video, one YouTube channel that's actually doing it in a way that I find entertaining, and that's Illuminate, the artist, the EDM artist, because whenever he does that kind of shit, he just like does a fart with reverb for the sound, and that's just my sense of humor these days.
Yeah, you have simple brain.
I do.
Yeah,
I am running a single threaded brain here.
nice.
Is that why you joined the Air Force?
Haha.
The Air Force stands for muscles are required, intelligence not essential.
No, that's the wrong branch.
Oh,
that-
which branch is
The
that?
joke would have been
All
much
right, thanks
funnier if
everybody
you
for
joined the
listening.
Marines.
Simmons doesn't want to get his ass kicked.
All right, thanks everybody for listening, and yeah, bye.